What is up, UBL Blitzball fans and newcomers? Welcome to the 2025 UBL Blitzball Draft. We have an amazing pre-draft show for you guys, and I'm joined by none other than Milo Sartori, captain of the Twisters. Make sure to watch the pre-draft if you're interested, but if you want to just skip to the draft, go ahead and go to this time right here. We have 3 segments for you guys today, so let's get right into segment 1. Segment 1, trades and official draft order. We did not have any trades this trade deadline. Nothing went down, so the official draft order is just Twisters, Maples, Gunslingers, Aces, Twisters. 5 picks, 5 rookies. You know the deal. Let's move on to segment 2.
Just a little disclaimer. This is based on the Google form we put out and just based on the 2024 season. So no bias and no hate towards other teams.
So let's hop right into our first team, the Twisters, the newest team in the league, captained by Milo Sartori, the former MVP and World Series champion. Okay, so the Twisters, their main needs are, first off, hitting. Like Milo obviously was a home run leader of 2022. That's how he got his MVP. But with just himself, he didn't have a home run last year. But home runs don't necessarily mean anything.
I was close.
Yeah. And then second off, pitching, like obviously that's kind of generic, but I'm going to explain a little bit. Like Milo's pitching himself, it's perfect. Like that's just, they have good pitching, but they just simply need somebody else to finish the game for them. So yeah, let's move on to the Maples. Now, the Maples, obviously, they were in last place. They've been in last place for a while now. But their main need, I would say, is definitely hitting. They have had no home runs in the Colson Fitch era. The last home run a Maples player has hit was Milo 3 years ago, which is actually crazy. It's so crazy. But obviously, like I said, home runs aren't everything. But when you don't have home runs, it's just hard to put up a lot more points. So, second off, they definitely need pitching. Just for a little stats for you guys, they lost 14-0 to the Aces. Cohen had 2 home runs. Graham had 2 more home runs. That might be most home runs in a single game. So obviously you don't want that. And they were up 4 to the Gunslingers in the final game of the season with 2 outs left. James came in, and no hate towards James, but he walked a lot of players, and they ended up losing by 2.
And wasn't that the game that they were supposed to go on for the World Series?
If they would have won, they would have ended up playing the Aces in the World Series instead of the Gunslingers, which is so pitching. Actually, I would move that to their number 1 need. Pitching is definitely a big thing, so maybe Colson will definitely be looking for that in this draft.
Now moving on to the Gunslingers. I think the Gunslingers. Oh my God. I think the Gunslingers have an amazing batting rotation. Luke has improved so much throughout the season. Like at first, last pick of the draft, right? I think.
Yeah, he was.
That was not the greatest, but now he's moved on and grown. And I think that's mostly because of Brandon being able to just coach and mentor him up. So I don't think they need any batting. But I think their number 1 priority is going to be pitching. The pitching's all right, but when it comes to Luke hasn't really progressed in that. Brandon can pitch some really nasty balls, but Luke probably doesn't get it where he wants it. So, yeah.
And I would like to even add, like, we lost by 1 point in the World Series, but literally that's just like, I remember I walked like 3 players in a row and they got lots of points, and it's just like you can't allow that many runs and then lose and then not score anything. So if we're not going to score, we're going to need to pitch well. So yeah. And then for the Aces, moving on to them, I was going to ask you, Milo, like what have they lost by you leaving, and what do they need to improve on?
I, to be honest, don't think they lost anything.
You think they're just going in stacked?
They're going in stacked. Probably the favorites to win. But I think, like, they go in. Graham, he doesn't have any, like, crazy. His arsenal's not really. I would say it's only fastballs.
Yeah, it's not very expanded.
But the fastballs are pretty quick. But then I think they have the best hitting. and that will make it hard. I think the only way you could beat them is with having good pitching, because the hitting on this draft class, it's kind of there, not really. So I don't know, but I think the Aces, they don't really need anything. Maybe just
like, I would say some fielding, because I know like Brandon and Cohen weren't like the best at getting outs in that way. They would just simply, like you were saying, just hit more home runs, and then they would get ahead. So yeah, that's true. I think in this draft class there is a good amount of fielding, maybe a little bit of pitching, but I don't see much hitting in there, so it'll be a little hard for teams to draft a player that can out-hit those two. So yeah. Segment 3, we're going to be talking about the rookies and their combine stats and see who is the best at each stat. So starting with Chase Osborne, he ran a 10.64 on the base run time. He went 3 for 3 on getting ground balls, but he missed all the throws. And then catching fly balls, he also went 3 for 3, but missed the throws to home. Which is obviously, I would say throwing to home from the outfield is definitely the hardest part. So I wasn't expecting too much. Hitting, he had no hits. In the BP, like the little toss-up pitches, he had no hits either. His arsenal for pitching, well, actually, to start off pitching, he had no strikes, just all balls. But his arsenal is a fastball. So obviously, whoever he gets drafted to will help him, like, build on that. Like Milo was saying, how it helped Luke get a little bit better at pitching and doing all that stuff. But the team that drafts him necessarily doesn't have to pitch him, so they could be going for just an extra player. All right, so now we're moving on to Alec Haycock. He had a very impressive performance. I was not there personally, but watching the video, he looked pretty nice. So his base run time was 10.36, so faster than Chase. Ground balls and throwing, he went 3 for 3 getting ground balls. He made 1 throw to first. And then fly balls, he went 3 for 3 on catching, but missed home. Hitting, this is where he really shined. He had 1 hit. It was kind of a little, like, it went foul and then it rolled in, but, it's still a hit, and he's playing against, I think he hit off of Cohen, who's obviously top 10 player as a kid. But yeah, he got walked, and he had no hits in the BP. He did have 1 strike while pitching, and his arsenal is a little more expanded than most players. He has a fastball. We saw a little bit of a curveball and a little bit of a slider. Oh, and also Parker, another rookie, was not able to make the combine. From what I've heard, he has similar traits to his brother Peyton. So I guess we'll kind of be basing him off of that, but we'll just see how it unfolds for him.
All right, we're going to talk about Peyton Warneth. His base run time was 10.84, so not bad. And then his ground ball and throws, he went 3 for 3 for getting the ground ball, and then actually made 2 of the 3 throws, which is pretty impressive because most of the other players weren't able to do it. And then his fly ball, he actually got 2 3 balls and then couldn't make any connections on the throws. So on hits, he was able to get 1 hit. BP, he had no hits. Then on his pitching, he had 2 strikes, which was actually the most out of everybody. So his pitching aspect of him was pretty impressive. He actually has a very wide arsenal, which is like a 2-seam fastball, cutter, and knuckle curve. So pretty good arsenal. Moving on to Jaden Moyes. His base run time was the fastest out of anybody with a 10.27, so that looks promising. His ground ball was also the best, getting 3 catches and 3 throws that connected. And then on his fly ball, which is just really impressive, meaning he was just deep out in the field. Deep. Oh, I can't laugh when he's like deep out in the field. His hits, he was able to hit 1 hit, so that's pretty good. And then on his BP, he actually hit a home run, and none of the other prospects were able to. So that looks really good on his hitting. But on the other side of it, he has a big, wide arsenal. But on the other side, sorry. his arsenal is pretty expanded. On the other side of things, his arsenal is actually pretty expanded. That sounds so gay. Okay. But on his arsenal, he had a wide variety of pitches. Yeah.
You can't change your
Not wide again.
You can't change your voice.
Yeah. On his arsenal, he has a variety of pitches. He has a 4-seam fastball, the 2-seam fastball, and a curveball. So that looks promising.
Peyton had the most strikes, and then Jaden was the fastest, the best fielder, and the best BP pitches. So yeah, that concludes the 2025 pre-draft show. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you at the draft.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 UBL Blitzball Draft. Today, me and Brandon will just be announcing the picks, so let's get right into it. The Twisters are on the clock.
All right. With the first pick in the 2025 UBL Blitzball Draft, the newest team in the league, the Twisters, select Jaden Moyes. I don't know, I'm clapping. The Maples are on the clock.
With the second pick in the 2025 UBL Blitzball Draft, the Maples select Alec Haycock, rookie. Gunsingers are on the clock.
With the third overall pick in the 2025 UBL Blitzball Draft, the Gunslingers select Peyton Wernick. The Aces are now on the clock.
Wait, who am I picking?
Exactly. You're supposed to be thinking.
With the fourth pick in the 2025 UBL Blitzball Draft, the Aces select Parker Wernick, rookie. Twisters are on the clock.
With the final pick in the UBL Blitzball Draft, the Twisters select Chase Osborne. Let's go Twisters. Let's go Twisters. Let's go Twisters. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched the pregame, you guys are real ones. If you skipped ahead, you're still real ones. Go check out that pregame though. It's pretty fire. Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for that 2025 UBL Blitzball season. It's going to be amazing. And we'll see you game 1.